This is Frank Klesitz, the CEO of Vyral Marketing. I want to welcome you to our next database marketing hangout, where we interview successful professionals, many of our clients who happen to be in the real estate profession, great real estate agents, on what they're doing to be successful with their database. The number one asset you have in your business, which is your past clients, your customers, any contacts you have, maybe any unconverted leads in your database that haven't taken an appointment with you yet. What are you doing to stay in touch with all those people, to position yourself as an expert, to remind them to refer you, to use you again, or even just maybe hire you versus the competition if it's an unconverted lead. So today I want to introduce you to Jodie, and the title of this hangout is different from what we normally have done. Normally for many of the interviews, you see interviews with top producers who have been in the business for a very long time, running very large teams, very, very large databases, selling hundreds of homes a year. But the reality is that's just a very small percentage of the profession, right? It may not apply directly to you, because when we all get started just by saying, all right, we probably start with the first couple of referrals. We start with prospecting, doing referrals, getting a few clients, and then you have to make that jump to start to spend money on marketing. And we've all gone through that, even the high-level producers that we interview on these hangouts. And that's what I want to talk to Jodie about today. Vyral Marketing being one of her first marketing investments, among some other things, and what that psychological jump was and how she planned for that and what she did, starting from scratch with Vyral Marketing. So if you're relatively maybe a brand new agent, or you're doing less than, say, 50 deals a year, and you just started spending money on marketing beyond just referrals or outbound prospecting, and you're looking to really how to leverage that and make sense of it and track it all, this is the hangout I want you to attend. If you want a copy of the marketing plan that Jodie uses, you can go to thedatabasereset.com. So everything that we talk about today is outlined in that marketing plan at thedatabasereset.com. Download that. It's about 20 pages. It goes to the marketing plan that we recommend here at Vyral Marketing to reconnect with your database, to communicate with it, and work it for business. So without too much more blabbering on my end, Jodie, I want to introduce you to everyone. Jodie, hello.
Hey, how are you?
Wonderful. I want to thank you so much for doing this. And you are an agent for how many years have you been an agent in the Salt Lake City region area?
16.
16 years.
Yes.
And you've lived there your whole life?
Born and raised, yep.
Okay. And up till about how many years ago was your business purely just by referral?
Up until really last fall when I hired you guys.
Okay.
It was mid-third quarter last year when I finally clicked. So
for 15 years, I'm sure there's been an onslaught of people trying to sell you leads or different solutions as a real estate agent to grow your business.
Yeah.
Right? I can't even imagine. How come you avoided all those for so long and just stuck strictly with referrals? Let's talk about that mindset for a while of where you were before you made the switch to hire us and do some more.
So there's been waves of frustration where I've wanted to change things and do things differently. However, fears always keep us in our comfort zone, right? One of the biggest steps towards my growth and my transition really came from coaching. I think that everybody that owns their own business should have a professional coach in the industry that has had success beyond you. If you're coaching with anyone different than that, that's where I think some of the hangups happen. You get too comfortable with a coach, it's time to switch it up. So coaching for sure. Before that, I get nervous talking to people that don't already know me and I already have some street cred with. I don't love hounding people that maybe don't necessarily always want to talk to a realtor, or at least that's what I would tell myself. So I would talk myself out of a lot of potentially good opportunities over the years. And the other major thing my husband would tell you is I'm a bit of a control freak. I like to know that my clients are completely taken care of. And I convinced myself that no one can do as good of a job as I can. So there's no need to leverage because I couldn't trust someone else to do anything different than what I did. So with that mindset, there's only so many deals a year you can do. That's what it boils down to.
So what happened last year? to make that shift?
So there was a couple different things, a few very, very difficult transactions, to say the least. And I just finally got fed up. And it's amazing, through the peak and the crash of the market, I didn't get fed up, but this time I did. But I really got tired of our industry being run down by terrible agents, and I wanted to get involved and make a difference. So I ran for a position to be a director for the Salt Lake Board of Realtors. So I was elected onto that, and that really kind of expanded my mindset, because again, I would look at these agents that were doing more business than me and really have no clue what they're doing. And it fascinates me. I always wondered how they get hired, what they say to these people to get the job for the listing or represent them in a buying transaction. And I know that I'm better than that. And so I finally just said, this is ridiculous. I can make a lot more money and I can do more business. I need to release and let go of some control and give the people what they deserve.
I love that. So let's go a little bit deeper then. So you made this decision, you became a director of the local port.
Mm-hmm.
And then you probably saw what other people were doing, the people that maybe weren't as good as you, that you perceived they were doing some other things for marketing. Let's go through your mindset of like, I got to do some new stuff now. Let's talk about all the options that went through your head, the different, let's talk about that. What were some of the options that you started thinking about to take it to the next level?
Let's do a quick disclaimer. I don't think the directors I'm better than the directors.
I don't mean it that way.
They're on here. Yeah, no, but there are, and I'm sure most agents that are on here are not in that category, or all agents that are on here are not in that category.
Well, anybody who's watching this wants to get better and wants to be the best of their profession.
Right. So I just want to make sure nobody thinks I'm an egomaniac here. But I think they all know that there are some shoddy agents in our industry. So, I looked into a lot of different systems, from lead generation tools, and what it boils down to, and where my heart and my mindset was right out the gate, is my past clients, my friends and family and past clients that I have taken care of and loved on them for years, and likewise. So I really wanted to make sure, through my training and my past coaching, that was still the hub of my business. And so anything that ties into that really came through to me with, wings, I guess. So the other systems I have dabbled with, just straight lead generation systems, and there are some that work for me and some that don't. But ultimately, I know keeping in touch with your clients is the most important thing. And I think a lot of us have learned that video is a great way to do that. My husband bought a green screen and all this equipment and editing stuff to be able to make videos. He's a lender, so he gets the industry, and he started making videos, and he's maybe a little less self-conscious about it than I am. I always found excuses. I found ways out of what I was going to do that day, and typically avoided making a video. And then when I'd finally make it, I'd see it on his computer as he was editing it, and I hated it. And so I'd scrap it. So it never got sent out. And now I'm trying to remember the name of the podcast that we heard about you guys on.
Oh, yeah, Pat Hyben, Toby Salgado.
Hyben, yes, Pat Hyben. So we started looking into that, and I just immediately knew it was something I was very interested in, just because it took me out of the equation to a certain level. It forced me to do it, held me accountable. You guys have the experience, you know what works, and you have a whole system in place that once I set the video and it's in your hands, I really, other than final approval, I guess, yeah, I don't have to worry about editing it. I know you guys will make me not look like such a bumbling fool. And I've gotten a lot more comfortable. I don't have to take 20 or 25 takes. I mean, I think Lexi
Well,
would
it's a
tell
lot
you.
easier being interviewed on a webcam than be standing in front of a green screen.
Yeah, I hated that look. It is so cheesy. I felt like the Hoff, David Hasselhoff. He does some videos where he's like on a yacht in a green screen and he's flying in the air and stuff. That's what I felt like every time I was standing in front of a green screen. I know I probably didn't look as amazing as the Hoff, but that's what I felt like. So it's nice to just be in front of my desk at my office, in front of my computer, where I'm comfortable, and I can have a little coach in my ear to tell me, shut up, you're rambling, and cut it shorter.
Yeah, great. That's what we
Yeah.
do. Let's go back to your database. So,
Okay.
you're selling real estate for a very long time, 15,
Mhm.
16 years. How many past clients would you say were in your database as of last year when you hired us?
So, I mean, I'm sure anyone that's been in the business for more than 3 or 4 years knows you kind of do that purge. So, should we give my old coach a plug?
Sure.
So, my former coach and still considered a very dear friend, Mr. Michael Mayer, has a system that you categorize your database A, B, C, and D is for delete. And C's are the ones you call through to see if they're going to move to A or B category or if they're going to be deleted. And so every few years, we kind of follow that. We've been doing that, I guess, 3 or 4 times now, so probably 6 or 7 years. We've gone through and followed that system and done that. So it grows to maybe the database that I know that I send all my marketing to grows to maybe 450, and then we trim it back down to 250 to 300.
Okay.
And so I'm not sure exactly where it was when we joined with you guys, because again, Dave, my husband, helps me send all the technological stuff over, so the database was sent by him. But that's roughly where that's at. However,
I think what is interesting is that you only have maybe, say, 400 people in your list. We're not talking tens of thousands here of random emails generated online. These are 400 people that you've known over your entire lifetime in Salt Lake,
yes.
Salt Lake area.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, for the most part, I mean, there's a fair amount of past clients there, but yeah, I've known them for years and they know me well.
Well, known or you've done business with, that there's
Yes.
you communicated with them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of those 400 or so, before you hired us last year, you did about 30 deals. How many deals came from that database?
So I did some quick math today just to make sure I was prepared with that. So we started October 2nd was my introductory call with you guys. And from that until the end of December, I had 6 deals that I can pin directly back to conversations that originated from the video.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
What about before Vyral though? So before, like, how many deals total did you do, let's say in 2014? What was your total number of deals in 2014?
42.
42.
Yeah.
2015, how many did you do?
36.
36. Okay.
Yeah.
But you hired us later in the year.
Yeah.
And then in the first 3 months, you got 6 deals right from the videos that came back from that?
Yep.
How did you know they came from a video?
So it's just a matter of asking conversations, because these are people that I know. And so they would immediately, I'd say within 12 hours of that video going out by email, I would get an email or a phone call from a past client. And, they'd have someone that needs to sell, or they needed to sell or buy. And so it just was a matter of asking, like, okay, that's great. Did you happen to see my video? Oh yeah, that's what spurred me on to give you a call. Or I've noticed since then certain topics will then all of a sudden trigger someone to contact me. And then I can relate the two based on their need. Oh, you must have seen my video. So,
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Good. And they're all from people contacting you.
Yes. So this year, do you want to know that number?
Yes.
So far, year to date, from January 1 of 2016 to today, I've closed 11 transactions that I can directly relate to one of the videos.
That's incredible.
So, yeah.
And I think what's great is, these are all people contacting you. I mean, are you prospecting or reaching out to your open and click report?
I am,
Good.
yes. I've had a little bit of a struggle lately because I'm kind of in between assistants, so timing isn't always ideal. But staying in touch with my clients is the most important thing. So I have many different ways. I'm very diverse that way. I have mail, the emails, through social media and through phone calls and through client appreciation parties.
I think what's key here is that these are all deals that came from a list of about 400 people, past clients this year. These are not random people finding you online, right? It's literally
Right.
from your database contact.
Right,
Okay.
right. And they're relevant topics that hit home with them. That's the biggest thing.
Give me a few examples of how you really know to come up with a topic that's relevant for your audience, Salt Lake area.
So anytime I see a trend in the business, so to me a trend is something that happens 3 times. If I see it a third time, I know it's got to be, if I see it a third time, I know it's got to be happening a lot everywhere, right? So then I immediately get to my little notepad and I start scribbling all the things that I want to spew at people, knowing that I need to keep it short. I try and cut it down to a few highlights just to get their attention and make sure that they understand that I'm the expert. That's the whole goal there, right? And sometimes I found that they have a friend that has a bizarre need, and through all my other contacts, that the mailers and everything that I send to them, it hasn't clicked for them to refer me. But then all of a sudden when they see this video, they think, oh, that person just asked about that. I need to get them in touch with Jodie. And that's when the magic has happened. So do you want to know topics?
Yeah, if you got a couple.
Okay.
Actually, what's the address of your video blog? I should have that in front of me. But
my video blog is just my name, jodieosofsky.com.
jodiesofsky.com. Go there and you can see all the different video topics.
So JODIEOSOFSKY.
Perfect. I want to go back to some return on investment calculation really quick, back on the size of your database. So normally what we like to see, or what's pretty commonly preached in the real estate industry, is 10% of your past clients and centers of influence should do about a deal with you a year, either from a referral or from a repeat sale.
Mm-hmm.
And you're pretty much hovering right around that number. I mean, 36, then 40, right around 400 people in your database.
Yeah.
You're golden. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you said last year in 3 months you did 5 deals, and then year to date you've done 11. So that total of 16 deals directly from Vyral.
I did 6 in 2015. Yeah, and 11 this year from that.
So
17. Mm-hmm.
So what's your average commission?
Ooh, my average price point right now is about, I haven't figured this year. Last year it was $235. So I would say figure a 2.5% commission average on that. So maybe $8 grand might be a little high. Yeah.
Probably go 6.5.
That's what calculators are for, man.
Well, let's take 6,500. Well, here's the deal. Let's take 6,500, okay?
Yeah.
I'll multiply that by 17. So 6,500, and if someone is smarter than us than Hangout, they'll be able to get to this number faster.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try.
17. That's great. So $110 in commission. Is that right? No, that's not right. Is that right? 6,500 times 17. Hang on.
I want to open my calculator. I put my phone out of reach.
110,000 in commission from an investment of working with us of probably to this point about $5-6 grand, probably about $6 grand so far.
You haven't cost me 110,000. I know that.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, it gets well over a 10-time return. That's what we want to see. We want to see that you don't spend more than 10% of whatever you generate on marketing. So we do a $10,000 in business, you can spend $1,000 to get it. Or you do $100,000 in business, you can spend up to 10 grand to get it. In your case, you're spending a lot less, which is fantastic because the quality of your list. All right.
Yeah.
Those are going to attract you this year. How many homes have you sold this year?
So this year to date, I'm at 22.
Good job. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right on track for 40.
Yeah, no, that's not good. We want more. But
What's more than last year?
Yes. But historically, my third quarter is always my busiest. I looked back over the past 5 or 6 years, and third quarter for me seems to be magic. So I'm counting on it being the same this year.
So let's talk a little more about why video and why spending the money on doing like videos of personalized content to your list. Usually for someone who starts off, they're like, well, I'm going to go buy this, canned newsletter, or sometimes maybe more the canned content. Why you jumped right to Vyral to spend the money with us? Tell us about that process and why you're like, well, I'm going to go drop the 2K and the $6,000 a year or whatever it is to work with us. Why is that?
So, I have other mailed pieces that have been consistent for probably 10 years now that I've used, like recipe card type stuff that I mail out. And I have a certain portion of my database that love those, but it doesn't reach all of them. And especially with, I would love to say, the generation my age and younger, video is really where it's at. And they don't want to get recipe cards all the time. They don't want to read newsletters about real estate unless they are in the market. Most people don't care about real estate until it really involves them personally. But ultimately, I think it's just a matter of connecting with them and letting them see that I'm a real person. I'm not a scary used car salesman. Nothing against used car salesmen out there, right? But I want them to connect with me on a deeper level. I see that over and over and over again. I don't know if you're familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk. Love Gary Vaynerchuk, and a lot of his stuff in his books and what he talks about really click and make sense. Yeah, which is right up your guys' alley. That's what you guys do.
Thanks. Yeah, actually in the weekly message I just sent out, I referenced him. And one of the things I want to do a better job at Vyral is really positioning the program as like an Ask Jodie blog, where you're answering questions that people ask you.
That's awesome.
So that's exactly what Gary Vee does. So just doing a better job, and essentially that's what you're doing, but really doing a better job of marketing of like, my Ask Jodie blog.
Love it.
So you'll see more messaging that way in the future.
Give them a place to send
it makes it more interactive, a place to submit questions.
Yeah.
Gives you a topic you don't have to think about because it comes.
That's very exciting because I think that is where one of my bigger challenges is now that I've run through quite a few of the videos based on your guys' experience and suggestions on what's helpful, which has been huge. But we've gone through a fair amount of that, right?
Yeah.
So with me sprinkling in relevant topics that I've seen locally or trends like we talked about before, now I'm starting to think, okay, now what? Now
what do we talk about? Let me just give you some of the top topics. It's going to be what's going on in the market this month. Where's the direction of home prices? The other is what's going on in the local community, like what's happening with buildings or development or local community events. Those are always pretty residual topics. And after that, just answering questions. And probably one of the easiest way to kind of find questions to answer is Zillow has an amazing Q&A form to find questions you can answer on there, right? Or just type in like real estate FAQ into Google.
Okay.
Probably two easy ways to kind of jog your memory on what you should answer if you just don't have any customer questions off the top of your head.
Okay.
So
I have a couple interviews lined up in the near future too with some professionals that I do business with that I think are relevant topics for just homeowners in general.
Wonderful. That's good. So key takeaways so far for anyone watching is, Jodie has a very strong list. She focused on, really parsing it down to the key people, about 400 or so individuals. We'll easily get 10% of those individuals to do business with her. And one of the ways she communicates with that list is with her 2 educational videos a month through Vyral, which she liked the videos and the personal content, but there's other things you're doing than just sending them videos. So let's talk about the other things you're doing in addition just to the 2 videos. What are those?
So before we go away from the videos, the one thing I wanted to point out is I've been surprised when I look at the open click report, how many of those are people that I've known from high school that I friended on Facebook, but I haven't physically seen since high school or shortly thereafter. And they're opening these videos because they're seeing them on my Facebook page.
That's cool.
So I love that. I feel like I'm cyber stalking people because I get to see who's looking at my videos, and it's really surprising sometimes. It's fun to see that. But the other thing I wanted to say is, since we've started this, not just my database gets the viral and not just Facebook. But we actually have added to the email list for you guys. I think we're at about 1,800 people on the list when the email goes out. And those are through the lead generation systems that we've started to develop and work on, and through people
So
going
those
to
are
the
your
website.
unconverted leads. I'll be very clear with that.
Those are people that don't know me. Yes.
When I usually use database,
Yeah.
I'm really thinking about your past clients, your sphere, and people you have real relationships with, because those are the people that actually probably really watch your videos and respond and say, hey.
Absolutely.
However, we can expand that definition to an email list.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with maybe taking all of your LinkedIn contacts, which we can get, or all the people on your cell phone, maybe they're not parsed down that well, or in your case, taking all the emails from all the people opting in on a buyer site or something like that, like leads, and including them on the 2 educational videos a month, to hopefully that at least positions you as like they see it. Then when you call, they know who you are.
That's it. They
How
know
is that
I'm.
1,800?
What's that? Sorry.
What benefits have you seen by including all those other people who you don't know on your email communications, on your videos?
Well, I think, again, it's a little stocky, but I like to see, so those leads that I'm cultivating through my website, that I'm calling, I'm not necessarily talking to, emailing back and forth with, when I see their name pop up on the open click report, I know that I'm gaining some traction with them. Online leads take so much time. They're not tomorrow leads typically. They're 6 months to a year down the road.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of knowing which ones I'm potentially gaining some relevance and traction with. So I don't know that I've been doing it long enough to really see any major results yet. Yep. But I'm excited. So anyway, didn't mean to throw you off there.
That all your businesses come from that list of 400 or so of all those deals.
Absolutely.
Not from all the random names that have been thrown in there, which we can get away with for now, which is fine.
Right. Yeah.
Good. So back to the other things that you're doing to communicate with the Q450. So I know the whole email list is getting 2 videos a month, probably property updates too.
Yep.
Right? But what are we doing more to communicate with those 450? Like, so for example, phone calls or client events or mailers, anything else?
Yeah. So I mail to them once a month with a recipe card. The company that I've used, like I mentioned before, about 10 years, has a little magnet on it and a monthly calendar. It's a jumbo size postcard. So they get a new one every month. And that's my old faithful that we keep saying we're going to change it up, and we don't, just because we get more response and feedback from that than some of the very expensive newsletters that I've paid for in the past. And I do not want to take the time to customize a newsletter. I don't have the time, and that's not my job. So I'm not going to spend the effort doing that. Then beyond that, anytime I want to do, I do a couple contests a year with my clients. I'll send out an email asking them to give me a review, and I'll pick a few different sites to ask them to give me a review on, or a testimonial. And anyone that does it, I'll give them a deadline and I put them in a drawing. So I think the last one we did last year was for a GoPro. So I'll just kind of pick a hot technology piece and do a couple contests that way, get some good interaction with them through that. We do a couple client parties a year, client appreciation events. So we've done, last year we did a luau, we did a barbecue. Year before that we did a movie. Everyone's kind of doing movies, so I've kind of pulled away from that and stick more to just the straight client events and just barbecues. We did a lot of fun different contests there, give away a lot of prizes. And then I call through the database. I'd love to say consistently 4 times a year I speak to everybody. That isn't always the case. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 times a year, but those phone calls are important. And then anytime there's immediate relevant information like rates drop and people could refinance, things like that that I think need to get out to everybody, will either send out by email and mail, or I will call through and mail.
Cool. All right. So All said and done, what are you investing per month into your database? Like with the mailers and viral marketing, what's that number?
Dave really should be answering that question. The biggest thing for me is I don't like to get caught up in that, because I find the more I focus on the dollars of it, the more hesitant I get to do what I know will help my business. So where I'm not saying I don't hold my money accountable, I make sure that my investments are bringing me a good return. I leave the details of the costs up to Dave, or else I would probably have a panic attack and shut down everything tomorrow.
Okay.
Coming from, a major recession, even though it was a few years ago now, I still get a little bit gun shy. The one thing I can tell you is, after I finally bit the bullet and made the investment with you guys, that first month, I know I was a little bit panicked when the payment went through. And since then, I haven't even thought about it, because I know I would never stop doing it. It's been so worth it. And I've seen and heard from my clients, and I've heard from other realtors that when they see it on Facebook, have watched the video and commented to me about it when they see me. So I know that it's working and relevant. But if I had to guess a number, all my marketing, including coaching.
No, just marketing.
Just marketing.
Yeah. What are you spending to generate leads beyond just your own personal work?
Probably, I'd say $2,500 to $3,000 a month.
Okay.
In that ballpark.
Good.
So
which makes sense when you're doing 4 deals a month, ideally this year.
Yeah. If you average in the client
It's about 10% of your GCI, actually.
Yeah. So if you average in the client events, it'd probably grow a little bit, but I didn't figure that in that number.
Do you get your husband to help sponsor some of your stuff? Is that possible to do?
Well, sure, but it all comes out of the same place, right?
I know.
So I don't get that benefit.
You probably can't get another lender to help you.
No, every time a realtor's like, well, I just have my lender pay for half. Lovely. Well, me too, kind of.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Yeah. So I just want to I'll wrap up the hangout here today, but the title of this is What to Do if Viral Marketing is Your First Investment. And for somebody watching this, the first thing I would do is make sure that you reread the Database Reset. It's the ebook of the marketing plan that we implement here for you that goes through how to round up your contacts. You can choose to really segment them down very cleanly, or just throw us all the emails. It really doesn't make much of a difference. They're all going to get your 2 videos a month anyway. Just notice that the people who will actually bring business to you will be like the key past clients and sphere in that list. All right. Mm-hmm. So make sure we get those people. We want to, constantly be asking for emails. So you mentioned earlier before the hangout that, you started doing a little more open houses. You started going out and, for lack of a better term, meeting more strangers. Mm-hmm. Are you doing that more now?
I am. Yeah.
Good.
Regularly. Yeah.
Good. And you're asking for an email address to stay in touch, bringing them into your database.
Yes.
And then putting them on your 2 videos a month.
Yes.
Right? At least you should be. Right?
Yes.
You set aside 30 minutes a month to record 2 quick educational video tips, ideally from your own topics that you're comfortable talking about, which is fantastic. Right? Yeah. And then, after those go out, we do everything. We give you the names of the people that watch those videos so you can prioritize your phone call follow-up. Yep. Which has been great with you. You've been very lucky. A lot of people have been calling you, which gives you testament to your great service and who you are. It's been fantastic. All right. Any other points for somebody? Maybe more psychology of, dropping that $2,000 or starting to write those kind of checks to, basically with us, the reason we're relatively more expensive in the marketing space, because we're a professional service. I mean, you're hiring video editors and writers. You're hiring human beings. Yeah. What could you share to somebody that's, freaking out about making that kind of jump where you were?
So I would dare bet that the majority of the people that are in that position haven't necessarily spent the money on a coach either. So the good thing with Vyral is you kind of get a 2-in-1 deal. It's not to say that you guys really dive in and do everything that a traditional coach would do. However, You don't just do what any of the other marketing companies that I've run across. You give us topics, you help us know what works. You've sent, videos of other agents that have had great success with certain things around the nation. So they're not necessarily direct competitors, and they're happy to share, and we can kind of see what they've been doing, what's helpful. That is one of the biggest things that I think is helpful. But it's amazing to me, back when I coached for a few years, new agents, and even some experienced agents that were really struggling doing less than 10 deals a year, I was amazed at how many of them didn't keep in touch with their past clients. And that's one of the biggest fails. So if you don't have your database together, shame on you, and you won't be in the business long. But after you get it
you'll be
together,
held hostage by lead providers.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
You'll be paying thousands of dollars to keep your business alive. But if you have that database together and you're just not quite sure how to communicate with them effectively, video is the only way to go. That's the way of the future. And the millennials are a huge group of people, and that is how they communicate, is all through social media, video. They're not going to read your newsletter. So don't listen to the 80s businessman. Think about what you pay attention to. And I think if you really think about that, the best thing you could put your money into initially would be some face-to-face connection, or second best video-to-face connection.
Great. Jodie, I want to thank you so much for sharing your story with everyone here today.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me.
And your video camera looks incredible. Is that one of the newer webcams that we shipped you, or is that the one on your natively on your computer?
My husband got it. I don't know what it is. It's a Logitech.
Yeah. Hey, you look great.
Hey, thanks.
Yep. So for anyone who is watching this, the very first step, if you're looking to get, research Vyral, or you're just a brand new client, make sure you read the database reset. It's how to reset your database, reconnect with it, communicate with it. Jodie, I want you to read that again. It's a good thing to reread over and over, because it just goes through exactly how to get results on the Vyral Marketing plan that I put together.
Awesome.
The whole backstory is that I did this for my business back in the day, and there was no services that were available, so I started it. This is what we have today. So Jodie, thank you so much for your time, and we'll end the broadcast right there.
Okay.